All right. All right. We are live. We are live. We are live. Eric, what's up, dude? It's been a while.
Murph, I'm doing good. How about yourself? Yeah, I think the last time we spoke to each other, the Yankees were 50 games over 500, I think, but a lot has changed since then.
Yeah, and last time we spoke, I think the Mets was shit in the bed. Then they played well. Now they're back to shit in the bed. So, hey.
Yeah, I think. Hey, where's Grimace been? Where's Grimace, on the beach somewhere? Where is he?
I listen. I was never on board with that stupid Grimace and the gay pride flag and all sorts of stuff that everybody was saying the reason why the Mets were winning. The Mets were winning because Francisco Lindor was put in that number one hole and he became a MVP candidate, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes too.
Right. And I'm sitting in MetLife Stadium right now, Rich. I went to the Jets game yesterday, and I never came home. So I'm sitting in the upper deck right now, waiting for the I think maybe the Giants and Jets game on the 24th. So I'm not leaving. But I'm wearing a Colts shirt at MetLife, so go figure, right?
Yeah, what's that all about? What's the Colts shirt all about, dude? I know you have a plethora of different teams that you wear. I do too. But I just want to know what's with the Colts shirt.
Yeah, well, Ben and I, on our travels, we passed through Indianapolis and we stopped by that monstrosity of a stadium they play, and they were having the Olympic swim trials there, believe it or not. That's how long ago, a couple of months ago. And just decided to stop in the gift shop and saw this on the clearance rack. So I figured, it looks nice. Established 1953, but the Indianapolis Colts were established in 1984, not 1953. So Baltimore Colts.
They were that team that kind of like left in like the middle of the night, right? Was it them or was it the Browns?
No, it was the Colts. The Colts were the founding fathers of leaving in the middle of the night, just like you'll be doing soon, Rich, when you go to Myrtle Beach, right?
Absolutely. I'm not telling nobody. I'm just going to pack it up, sell my house, and I'm going to be calling you from Myrtle Beach. I'm going to say, we are out of here. We moved.
Well, I won't be on the beach with you, Rich. So, I could definitely be virtual on these calls, but don't bring me on the beach with you, please.
Like I said, let me get to this for a minute. Like, so I went on
a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
There was a little blip there. Although I did sit on the beach a couple of weeks ago, I did go to the beach. And it was the perfect day down to Seaside Heights. In-laws have a house down there. It was about 70 degrees, no humidity. And you know what I said? You know what? Why not go sit on the beach for a half hour or two? And actually, it was 2 hours on the beach, believe it or not. So actually put my feet in the water. It was cold, and but I enjoyed it. The sun doesn't do well with me, Rich, as you know.
Is that the reason why you don't like the beach, because of the sun, or you don't like the water, or like, I know we go through this every summer, but the beach is like, I don't know, I could sit there all day. I love the ocean. I love everything about the beach. Like, what is it about the beach that just, you don't like?
Well, it's definitely the sun. We were at MetLife yesterday and we were sitting in the shade. All of a sudden the sun starts creeping up to our row, and I was in panic. I said, where am I going to get sunblock? Where am I going to get sunblock? So I went to one of the souvenir stands there, and I asked them, do we have sunblock? They said, no, we don't sell it, but if you go 3 doors down to the first aid station, they have it there. So I opened this door, right? And it looked like a hospital. There was a bed there. It was all vital machines. I guess like if a fan passes out, they bring them there, whatever. So I asked the young lady at the door, I said, do you have sunblock? And she just did that. And there was this big jug of sunblock on the desk, industrial strength sunblock, couple of pumps, boom, boom, done, So it was good. I felt much safer, and I was able to enjoy the game.
Me, on the other hand, I know I should, and I shouldn't even say this out loud, but I don't use sunblock. I use it sometimes, but I don't know. My Irish skin tans for some reason, but I don't know. I don't want to confuse tanning with skin cancer, so I got to start using sunblock.
Yeah, and you should go to the dermatologist once you're rich. I go to the dermatologist, and I guess the only uncomfortable thing is they give you a piece of paper. They don't give you a robe. They tell you to strip down to your underwear, give you a piece of paper, and you're holding the paper like this, and they're checking all around and stuff. I guess
being naked really doesn't bother me. Like I told you in the past, I've been in clothing optional bars in the past, so being naked really doesn't bother me. Like you said to me, if the Jets win the Super Bowl, will I run down the street naked? No problem. You tell me to do that, I will absolutely run down the street naked if the Jets win.
Yeah, Rich will run down Route 52 naked, and we'll have to alert our police friends that we made last year at the Halloween Fest that this is a bet that he's paying off. So
It's driving me crazy. My lip here. I'm looking at my lip. I cut my lip shaving yesterday, and it looks like a coleslaw, but it's driving me nuts.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like you got a little herpes there, Rich, or something like that. Huh?
It's not. Okay? That's why I feel like I gotta say it out loud. It's not herpes. It's just like I cut my lip shaving in a weird place.
It's a good thing. Good thing I'm sitting 8 miles away in the friendly. Well, actually 60 miles away in the friendly confines of MetLife. So.
And believe me, I don't plan on kissing you either, Eric. So.
You know what?
So how was the So let's talk about yesterday for a second. There, what was the vibe like in a MetLife Stadium? Listen, preseason football to me, I don't like it, but what was the vibe like yesterday?
Well, first of all, we got a lot to talk about, Rich. I just want to let you guys know that I wasn't feeling well. I had this nasty cough since like November. Even when we did the basketball, we'll talk about the basketball in March. I had a bunch of cough drops with me. I had this nasty cough. The wife's telling me to go get it checked out. I said, I'm fine, coughing up the green shit and stuff. And all of a sudden, first week, second week. Oh, no, actually, it was the last week in June, right? The 4th of July. I was really bad shape and stuff.
Right.
No fever, but just like this congestion. No way you're supposed to be enjoying your summer. Took a COVID test. It was COVID. 5 days later, cough's gone. Everything's gone. I feel fine. So it was kind of the worst 4th of July ever. I really had I was losing my taste and stuff. I mean, you couldn't really enjoy the hot dogs or anything. I only eat hot dogs on the holidays and stuff, but I've been going off that since my trip to the Midwest. Had good hot dogs. But, we've been back. Feeling great now. Like I said, went to the Jets game yesterday. The vibe was there, Rich. The fans are excited. I mean, not too many starters played. I think the only starter that played yesterday was the center. But but this whole new kickoff thing is weird. Did you see the new kickoff, Rich? What they do now?
I did, but like, explain it though. Like, I'm really, it's gonna be like 2 or 3 weeks before I really start going headfirst into football. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out myself. So the kicker stands on his own 35-yard line, and then the kicking team stands on the opponent's 40-yard line, I believe. And then the opponent's receiving team stands on the 10 yards away, let's say. So the kickoff happens, and none of the guys can move until the returning team catches the ball, and then it's all hell breaks loose, basically. So
what do you think the reasoning behind this new rule change is?
A couple of things, Rich. I think one is health. We've seen a lot of injuries on kickoffs. And another thing, it makes it more exciting now because there'll be more kickoff returns, I think. So a lot of these teams, including the Jets, they brought in these guys that are specialists in returning kicks. I don't know who the Jets guy was. I know they brought this guy in, Tariq Cohen, but he retired. He was on the Bears. But I think it's going to – but, from my perspective, it's still going to be touchbacks, I think. There was a touch – the opening kickoff yesterday resulted in a touchback. So there you go. I don't know what – but I think the main thing is for injuries.
Yeah. I guess that I guess that would make a little bit of sense, with the rule changes and stuff like that. But we'll get to the rest of it. I just wanted to find out what the vibe was, what the vibe was like at MetLife Stadium, because I'm super pumped about football season, but I just can't wrap my head around it yet because preseason just to me is just so, like I said to you before, like I know it's not going to happen, but I literally do not want to see a pair of shoulder pads on Aaron Rodgers until September.
Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers was on the sidelines with the clipboard and stuff. They showed him on the scoreboard a couple of times. The fans were going wild. They said 65,000 in attendance, but that's paid. So I guess 65,000 people paid, but there wasn't 65,000 there. Right. The face value of my tickets was $172 each, but I paid like $20 a ticket. So you could tell.
$172 was the face value?
Yeah. Woody Johnson, he definitely raised the prices. But like I said, I paid $20 on SeatGeek because, people were selling their tickets. They're not going, Ben's going to turn 21 in November, and he told me he wants to go to a regular Jets game during the season. So we have some options there. When he comes home from school, I guess we can go.
Let me ask you a question. He's away at school, right? Me and Aiden are thinking about going to Pittsburgh for the Pittsburgh Jets game, October 20th. I don't know if you're up for a road trip with the two of us, but I don't know what Ben's going to be at that point. But I'm looking at tickets to go to Pittsburgh to go take Aiden out to go see the Jets in Pittsburgh.
Is that a day game or a night game, Rich?
Sunday night.
Oh yeah, I know. They have their home schedule. They have 4 night games. The Jets. It's crazy. The NFL is really banking on the Jets winning the Super Bowl this year. As funny as I don't want to curse anything, but it seems like the NFL is going to give the Jets any break to get to the Super Bowl because you know what, it would definitely the NFL's on top right now, but if the Jets won the Super Bowl, the NFL product would definitely skyrocket, and the Jets product.
I mean, listen, Jet fans will go crazy, but I think you're absolutely right about that because, the Jets haven't sniffed the Super Bowl in 52 years, dude. Well, 53, going on 53 years, right? I mean, so the fact that there's a possibility that this could be the year. And if you look, I'm a Jets fan, and I'm going to tell you, that every year they win the Super Bowl. But if you're even just a casual football fan who looks at stats, who looks at players and who's playing what position, the Jets really don't have many weaknesses, dude.
Yeah, not at all, Rich. They were bringing in these guys. They have the veterans and everything, the kids. I think if Breece Hall stays healthy, that's the main thing. I think, and Aaron Rodgers, of course, staying healthy, Rich. And that's what I want to bring up to you. What do you think about, Pat Mahomes played last night. Josh Allen played yesterday. Trevor Lawrence played yesterday. Aaron Rodgers is not going to suit up. But Aaron Rodgers has taken 4 snaps in, let's say, the past, 21 months, maybe.
Right.
Don't you think he needs some of that interaction on the field?
You know what, though? It's that's a good question. Those guys you just talked about, right? Those guys are in the prime of their career, right? I mean, Pat Mahomes is probably the best player in the NFL right now. And all those guys that you mentioned, they're still young guys. They're still, they're still hungry. I'm saying Aaron Rodgers isn't hungry, but I'm saying like Aaron Rodgers is a little, he's a little older than those guys, right? He's had injuries in the past, and to say that Aaron Rodgers hasn't taken snaps in a real football game in whatever, he had 4 snaps last year. I mean, the guy's been a top caliber quarterback for how many years in the NFL. So I think he understands what it's like to play in a real game time situation. So I think, listen, if it hurts him for not playing in a real game situation in preseason, then he wasn't even meant to play quarterback, I don't think, this year, because I think that we really, really have to err on the side of caution with him when it comes to his injuries, because he could tell you, like last year, what did he tell us? I'm 100% ready to go. 4 snaps in, he goes down with a bad injury, his season's over. So he's an older guy right now. I think just him being there in a mix and kind of like, I personally, I mean, other Jet fans can maybe argue this point with me, but I really don't want to see him taking any snaps, because I think he's taken enough snaps in his career to realize what a real football game is and what real football speed is. I really think that he needs to kind of like be more, knowing the playbook and stuff like that. I think that would be more helpful to his, him starting as a Jet. You know what I mean? Because I think that, God forbid, Jets law, whatever it is, they call it Murphy's law in my house. It's like something will happen to him in preseason, and he is the key to everything. And I'm not saying that he's the key to everything because he's still the greatest quarterback in the NFL, because he's not. But he's the key to everything because we don't have much behind him.
But what do you think about rust, Rich? There's got to be a rust factor. I mean, like I said, not taking a snap in 21, there's got to be some rust that he's going to have to shake off. Granted, he won't be running on the field with the American flag. That's going to be Brock Purdy probably. So that probably saves you guy there. I don't know if he pulled something running out with the flag last year, but there's got to be a rust factor. I mean, I understand he's a grizzled vet, been out there. I mean, I think Tom Brady could probably do the same thing. I'd sit out a preseason, and he's done it before, and he's come in. So Rodgers might be in that same type of might be the same type of animal that could just, take off a preseason, not take a snap, and just go there in September and take the ball. And
the only saving grace for me, as far as I'm not taking any sacks, is if you look at the Jets defense is a top defense in the NFL. I mean, I'm not saying they are, but they're up there. Let's call them, if you want to, I'll call them top 5. If you want to call them top 10, whatever. They're a top defense in the NFL, and he's practicing against these guys every day. And I'm not saying he's getting hit, but I'm positive. And if Salah's not telling these guys to go without hitting him, I'm sure he's telling him to go full bore, full speed, going after him. So he's practicing against a top defense, and I'm sure I'm going to get killed. Like, practice is practice, and real games are real games. But I also think Aaron Rodgers has played enough real games in his career to, again, know what the speed of a football game is. And I think that he needs to work more on getting his relationship, which I know he has a really good relationship with Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Mike Williams, and all these guys. And I think the relationship factor is going to help him more as a quarterback, I think, than actually taking 4 or 5 snaps in a preseason football game. Remember the year that Chad Pennington got hurt in the Giants game? I mean, Chad Pennington is not Aaron Rodgers, but Chad Pennington was our hope of doing pretty well because he was a decent quarterback. And look, giant game, bang, blows his shoulder out. He's done for the season. You know what I mean? So things can happen, but I'd rather something happen in a real game experience than a preseason experience, because I can't stand preseason.
Yeah, so they lowered it to 3 games. It used to be 4 games.
Yes.
So maybe they want to make it 2 games in the future. Who knows? But
the selfishness of a lot of these owners too, and wanting the 4 preseason games, is to pay $172 a ticket to go see a bunch of college players play.
Yeah, like I said, if they shorten the preseason to 2 games, you get like 1 game on the road, 1 game at home, and then they add the 18th game to the schedule, so the teams will actually be playing the 18th game. So I think you're right, though, Rich. I think the owners want the preseason games, because $172 for nobody's going to go watch it. That's like, no, that's profit right there, right?
It's profit. It's in their pocket, because, like you said, those tickets were sold. Those tickets were sold for $172, mm-hmm. And you bought it for what you bought it for, because some guy was like, no one's going to go to this game, so I'm just going to sell it for like $30 or whatever.
Yeah, you figure 12 o'clock on a Saturday in the middle of summer, who's going to want to go to a football game? But like I said, there was a pretty nice turnout yesterday. I mean, leaving the game wasn't bad. We got in our car. We were home within an hour and 10 minutes. There was no traffic or anything. But you know, I just looking at the Jets schedule, Rich. I mean, they're playing the 49ers on the road, the Titans on the road, the first 2 games, Patriots, Broncos at home, then at Minnesota at home against Buffalo. I mean, this is a pretty, they can come out of the gate 6-0 easily, Rich, this season.
They can.
Right?
Yeah, they can. And again, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but yes, they can. I mean, their offensive line is completely different. Completely different. There's not a man on that line right now that was starting last year. Okay. Mm-hmm. 2 veterans and the rookie that we picked up from Penn State. That kid from Penn State is you know, projected to do very well. And just watching him yesterday, he looked like an NFL offensive line. I mean, that's just, and again, I think for position players like that, you know, for rookies, that's a they have to play. Like I said, this kid from Penn State has to play. You know, this quarterback they has to play because they need real-time experience, because this kid from Penn State was one of the best offensive linemen in college football. Now he's coming into an you know, an era and an area where there's men that are getting paid a lot of money to kill your quarterback. They're not going to be in biology class tomorrow. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, it's a completely different situation. I know this is an old adage, but I always used to say, like, you know, a lot of these guys come into the NFL like these quarterbacks. You know, these quarterbacks could be great in college, but once they line up against a guy like, you know, I know I'm aging myself. Like I used to say Ray Lewis, and Ray Lewis is looking you in the eyes, telling you that he's going to kill you and he's going to eat your children or whatever he's saying. Like that's a different adage to some kid who's going to biology class the next day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, that those guys need to play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. But yeah, I think some of the starters will play next week. Maybe like one set, whatever, one set of downs, whatever. So yeah. So those guys like the Breece Halls, the Garrett Wilsons will probably get in there, I guess. You know, and it's going to be interesting, Rich. It's so funny that that football's here already. It seems like the Super Bowl was just happening. Crazy, right?
Now, let me ask you a question, because I could tell you all day that I think Breece Hall is going to be one of the best running backs in football, either this year or next year. As you as a football fan, what do you think watching this kid play football? Because I think he's so exciting to watch.
Yeah, he's explosive, very exciting. Yeah, I think if he has a good year, Rich, definitely could be in the top 5 in the league, maybe the top 3 in the league, easily. Yeah. I think losing Rodgers last year really hampered him and Garrett Wilson, their numbers and stuff, because look who was throwing to them, basically, you know.
And their offensive line was like Swiss cheese, dude.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I think the Jets, they made all the necessary changes. And like I said, I told you in the past, my wife works right by the Jets facility, and it's been pretty busy there these past couple of weeks. A lot of cars there, so traffic's been pretty busy by the Jets training stand. I think the fans are all pumped up, and you know, an injury or two, you know, unfortunately, it could be a big disappointment again. And then once again, we look at Joe Namath selling his soul to the devil, Rich, because of this.
Yeah, and Eric, I truly believe that, dude. I do not want that man anywhere near MetLife Stadium. I don't want him commenting on this team. I don't want him to. The guy won a Super Bowl. Fine, it's 52 years ago, bro. I mean, come on, shut up. Like I said, and again, I know I get killed by older Jet fans when I say this, and I even get killed by younger Jet fans. I don't think Joe Namath he was a good quarterback. I don't think he was a great quarterback. I think he got lucky. So if anybody in their right mind says there's either one of two things, he got lucky by saying that they're going to win, or B, like I said in the past, he literally sold his soul to the devil, and the devil is collecting. And when he dies, that is when the Jets may possibly win the Super Bowl. But, you know, I'm coming from a place of like, you know, they could, you know, whatever, is the devil real or not? You know what I mean? But the point I'm making is I think that in this case, I think that selling the soul to the devil, I think really means something, because the Jets they've had decent seasons. They've made the playoffs, but they haven't even looked at a Super Bowl in 52 fucking years.
Yeah, it's crazy as it seems, you know, and look at the Cleveland Browns. I mean, they never did either, and Detroit Lions. But yeah, what I was going to say is, if you look at Joe Namath's career numbers, they're not even that spectacular, Rich. I think his career was based on one game, basically, even making the Hall of Fame based on one game.
Right. Yeah. Let's like I said, let's hold on a second. Let's look at let's look up Joe Namath's stats real quick for a second. All right. I'm going to pull this up right now. Joe Namath stats. All right. Now we're going to put this up against, you know, other quarterbacks all right, in his career, okay, this is Joe Namath's career stats, okay, 140 games, 50% completion, 27,000 yards, and 173 touchdowns. Okay. Now, what is that? Is that great? Is that a great quarterback?
No, not at all. As I said, he won the ring, right?
Yes, he won the ring, and the only reason why he's relevant is because he promised he was going to win the Super Bowl against a much better Baltimore team, Baltimore team.
Of course, and I look at Dan Fouts' numbers. Dan Fouts, 43,000 yards, never won a Super Bowl. That's crazy.
Dan Marino, look at Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, yeah, exactly. Maybe having the first name Dan's not good. Dan Fouts, Dan Marino, right?
Yeah, but those are two quarterbacks that were great. Joe Namath, not great.
Nope.
Right? Am I crazy for saying that?
Yeah, and his win-loss record too. It's not that great. And you know what? Look at Eli Manning's win-loss record. I think it's like a couple of games over 500, but he did win 2 Super Bowls, Eli. So
now that's another conversation. Is that should he be in the Hall of Fame just because of the 2 Super Bowls?
Very, we know what the Hall of Fame looks like, Rich, now in baseball, and it seems like everyone makes it in the NFL. They induct like 8 guys a year, basically. Whether he belongs there or not, I don't think so. But having the last name of a Hall of Famer, his brother and stuff, and winning 2 Super Bowls coming from the Manning family, maybe he does sneak in. It's going to be very controversial, no matter what, if he does get in or not.
Because if you look, listen, you want to look at Peyton Manning and you want to look at Eli Manning. You want to look at their careers, okay? Now, this day and age, they go hand in hand. They do everything together. But Eli Manning, without those 2 Super Bowls, is a better than average lifetime quarterback. Peyton Manning might be the greatest in-season football player quarterback of all time. I say in-season because of the fact that there are times when he went to the playoffs and he shit the bed. But if you want to look at in-season statistics, in-season comebacks, his arm strength, like Peyton Manning is top 5 in-season quarterbacks ever.
I think Eli does make it though, Rich.
Yeah. He froze.
And only 244 interceptions. So I think Eli does make it based on his numbers and the 2 rings.
But like I said, we talk about Hall of Fame in baseball. We talk about Hall of Fame in football. Our opinion really doesn't matter. But I still think it's a very watered down system. The way all the Hall of Fames, and I see the Basketball Hall of Fame too. It's like the Basketball Hall of Fame is a little different, I guess, because I don't know. I'm not. Maybe it is different. Maybe it's not different. But these Hall of Fames are based a lot of times on character, and I think whether you're a nice guy or not, it shouldn't come into play if you go into the Hall of Fame, but it does. But Eli Manning is a really, really nice guy with 2 Super Bowls. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's going to come into play with him also. So Peyton Manning, shoo-in. His Eli without the 2 Super Bowls, maybe a Hall of Famer, maybe not.
Did you see last Sunday the Yankees at Eli Manning bobblehead day? Did you see that? Because the Yankees were celebrating the Giants' 100th year anniversary. It's their big anniversary this year, and they had an Eli Manning bobblehead. Eli Manning wearing a Yankees uniform. Crazy, right?
Get out of here, really?
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about that? Is that some kind of like that partnership? That's a partnership with the New York Yankees, right?
Yeah, well, maybe Eli can go out to the bullpen and start warming up. We need some pitching, Rich. So maybe he can go out there and start warming up in the bullpen. Yeah. But kind of strange. I never knew there was a Giants. Well, I knew the Giants played at Yankee Stadium, but I never knew there was I never knew of a football team and a baseball team getting together for promotion like that. So
no, kind of interesting. What are the Jets going to have? Francisco Lindor bobblehead day?
maybe Michael Tompkin bobblehead day.
Maybe. Oh my God! Well, the Jets are definitely going to be something. Listen, and I know I say this every year, but this is actually the one year to me that we're all unrealistic as Jet fans. We're all like, yeah, we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. Look at this one. But in my whole years of Jet fandom, I think this is actually the year where you look at this team, you're like, this team could win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
So I mean, this, and again, I know I'm gonna go into this like I usually do, headstrong. And I could just hope for the best and hope that there's no big injuries. I hope that the offensive line holds up. I hope because look, if that offensive line holds up and you have 2 good, really, really good wide receivers and an amazing running back and a good, decent tight end and just a good offense on whole with an offensive line, is a threat from, it's a threat to run the ball. Brees Hall is also a threat out of the backfield too. You know what I mean? So that offense is locked and ready to go, barring no injuries. And that defense is finally looking at an offense and looking at an owner that said, all right, you got us something. So now we're going to go out and be that defense that I thought kind of kicked back a notch last year because they were tired, because they were pissed that they were on the field so much because the offense sucked that bad. And I do believe that Zach Wilson had I understand that the offensive line sucked. Somebody said this to me the other day. The offensive line was terrible. I do understand that. But a better quarterback would have eluded a lot of those sacks. A better quarterback would have set up the offense a little differently because he knew his offensive line sucked. And again, I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers would have won a Super Bowl behind that offensive line, but he definitely would have done better than somebody like an idiot like Zach Wilson.
Yeah, and Las Vegas is still not, they're still partial on the Jets, 18-1 to win the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. So, ante up, Rich, put 10 on that, you can win like $200, right? So, yeah.
Speaking about that, not long shots. Well, they were a long shot when I did it. I just had an inkling a couple of weeks ago, and I came home and I said to Aiden, it's like, I think the Houston Astros could win the World Series this year. And he's like, you know what, Dad? It's weird you say that because I was thinking that today too. So we put $100 down on the Astros to win the World Series probably like 2 months ago, and the odds are pretty good. I think we're gonna win. If they win, they're going to win like $2,900 or something like that.
Wow, that's great. You know what? I think the San Diego Padres, and I'll get into that in a little bit. The San Diego Padres are low too. You could put a couple of shekels on them.
Yeah,
I think the Padres right now might be the best team in baseball.
You see what's his name throw a 105-mile-an-hour fastball by Machado the other day?
Oh, crazy.
Where'd that come from? Where did that come from?
No.
What's his name? What's his name, dude? I'm sorry.
Chapman.
Chapman.
Yeah.
104.9 miles an hour.
So I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that, Rich, because the Yankee fans, when he did that, say, oh, we gave him away, we cut him, whatever, or we didn't sign him. But when you had him, you were complaining about him.
Exactly.
Like, the New York sports fan, I mean, I know you and I follow some of the New York teams, and then we follow some other teams, you the Celtics, me Tampa Bay, and stuff. But the New York sports fan is like, it's like if somebody does good somewhere else, I mean, so you were booing this guy, cursing this guy, get the hell off the field. The guy strikes out Machado with 104. Oh, we got rid of him. And then the same thing is Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes is like, okay, the guy makes the All-Star game, but he's blowing games, but he comes back, has a great game. I mean, here's the problem with the Yankee fans. Ready for this, Rich? The problem with the Yankee fans, and I'll give you 2 words. Mariano Rivera. Now, nobody touched Mariano Rivera. So, of course, you're going to have guys that you're going to have normal pitchers, but the normal pitchers are going to suck because nobody can wear Mariano Rivera's shoes.
But that's, and when you talk about that, though, it's a comparison. Like if you're a Chicago Bulls fan and you say, oh, my God, the Chicago Bulls have sucked for so long. Well, you guys had Michael Jordan for all those years. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of like the same concept if you're a Chicago Bulls fan. It's like, the Yankees had the greatest closer of all time when the closer became a very integral part of baseball. You know what I mean? And that's around the time when think about it, like, you got a guy like Goose Gossage bitching all the time. Like, I used to close games out. Whatever, dude. And I'm kind of conforming to the fact that the game has changed. And that's around the time where that game has changed and you needed a comparable closer. And Mariano Rivera went from hearing that Dennis Eckersley is the greatest closer of all time to, no, I'm the greatest closer of all time. And that spoiled Yankee fans, I guess. It spoiled baseball fans in general because when you see something like that, you think it's going to happen again, like Michael Jordan, like any other person that you want to think, like Kobe, like any of these players, like Tom Brady. You think that is easy to come by, and it's not that easy. You're not going to find another Mariano Rivera maybe for 30, 40, 50, 60 years maybe. He might even not even be born yet. You know what I mean? So you have to stop looking back at that and saying like, oh, wow, look at this guy did 105 miles an hour. If we would have had him. No, he'd probably be in trouble if he was in New York. Or he's probably, you can't say that about somebody. Like all these Met fans wanted to talk about how Kelnick was playing so well when he left. Goodbye. You know me. I'm not a Mets fan that says, I can't believe we got rid of this guy and look at how he's doing over there. Sometimes people just need a change of venue, a change of scenery to become who they want to be. And New York isn't for a lot of people. So maybe he wouldn't have strived here, or maybe he would have. It doesn't matter. But it's all relative to where you're playing too. Like we always talk about a guy like Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke was amazing. But you know what though? Zach Greinke wanted nothing to do with New York because he knows that it's like if he came here, the crowd might be too much for him. And that you got to give him kudos for thinking about that too, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys that could play in New York. Like I said, there's some guys that can't play in New York, and it's all about character. So yeah, there were times where he would shit in his pants. He'd have to run off the field, go to the bathroom, because that's what it's like pitching in New York. But he's pitching in Pittsburgh now, a team that hasn't won the World Series in almost 50 years, 45 years. There's no pressure there, Rich. What do they have? One reporter in the clubhouse, where in New York, there's like 50, 60 reporters after every game talking to you and stuff like that. Yeah. Of course, his interpreters there too, because all of a sudden, they forget English when they're around the 60 reporters and stuff like that.
So how much money in 2 years? How much money do you think the Yankees are going to offer Skeens?
Oh yeah, well, the Pirates did the right thing with Skeens, because the Pirates brought Skeens up after June 1st, so they have control of him for another year, basically.
Yeah,
so, but
2 years.
But I'm the people that put money on Skeens to win the Cy Young Award and Rookie of the Year in the beginning of the season. He wasn't even up yet. Can you imagine the odds, Rich, of him being the Cy Young Award winner? And you know what? Dylan Cease might have that too. Dylan Cease is up there too.
Kid is the real deal, dude. Both of those kids are pitching phenomenal. That kid Skeens is the real deal.
So I went to Washington. Washington was on my list of ballparks to visit. So Ben been there already. He was working that day. So I took the Amtrak down to Washington. And it was the actual Thursday where I got to watch the no-hitter by Dylan Cease. So first time I ever saw a no-hitter in person. And like my brother said, my brother's not a sports fan, but he said, if anybody was due to see something in person, a no-hitter, it was you, basically. And what a day in Washington. So let me describe that for a sec. The game gets underway, right? It's the Padres against the Nationals. So the game started, it was an early game. So I figured, let me go to the 12 o'clock game. I get in and out of Washington. I can get home at a normal hour. So I got down to Washington. I went to the Lincoln Memorial, walked to the Washington Monument, walked to the White House, did a lot of walking. Then I took an Uber to the stadium. So I'm in the seat, and it was the club seat, so it was nice and air conditioned. The Washington weather can get crazy, and there were seats too you could sit on. So I was sitting in the seat. Game starts, and 9 minutes after they said play ball, it started to pour. So the tarp comes on the field. It's like, oh shit, I'm going to miss, Amtrak, you have schedules to catch. So I'm going to miss my train home and stuff. But game gets started an hour later. And watching this guy pitch, it's the 5th inning. He's got no hits. It's the 6th inning. Nobody's really talking about it. And the 8th inning, even though the Padres are the road team, the 8th inning, after every out, you could see the fans getting louder and louder, basically, for this guy. And the guy next to me goes, holy shit, I didn't realize he pitched a no-hitter. It's the 9th inning. It's like, don't say that, The guy was from San Diego, a Padres fan. All of a sudden, the 3 simple outs in the 9th, and it's like, oh my God, I just saw a no-hitter in person, And it happened to be all the Yankee games. It happened to be in Washington and stuff like that,
cool. It doesn't matter. Like even you said, like I read your post. It was kind of an emotional post, and it was cool because you're a baseball fan just like me. And it's like, it doesn't matter when you witness that shit, dude, it's hard to do, man. You see what Corey Seager did the other night?
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen just like that. I mean, again, I'm sorry, forgive me because I don't know the outcome of that game. But I do know that Corey Seager hit a 2-run home run to make it 4-2, and he had a no-hitter going into the 9th inning. And again, I don't know if they won or lost the game, but I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, I don't remember the outcome, but this game right here, the one.
You froze, E.
And at the end of the game, people were like, celebrating. And I noticed one thing at the end of the game, Rich. There were 26 Padres on the field. They're on second place celebrating. And the manager, Mike Schilt, he was standing at home plate. So I never, the manager's saying, like, let the players do their thing, and then I'll celebrate. So none of the manager coaches were involved until Cease comes off the field. Then they got it. So it just gives me chills thinking about that because you see this thing happening before your eyes, and you always wonder, like, how the celebration is going to be afterwards. But it was pretty cool to watch. And Dylan Cease has been unhittable his last 6 starts. That's why I'm thinking the Padres, they've won like 29 out of 41 games, Rich. They're the hottest team in baseball. They made great trades. They have one of the best bullpens now. They're still behind the Dodgers. They're number 1 in the wild card. They're going to make the playoffs. But I'd watch out for this Padres team. They're going to make some noise. And their lineup, too. They traded Juan Soto away, Rich. They didn't miss a beat, it seems.
No, they didn't. Yeah. I know. No, they didn't. I hear you. It's just it's very exciting. It's very exciting for you to see a no-hitter. Like I me myself, like I wouldn't even care. I wouldn't even care if there's a no-hitter thrown against my team. Because at that point, if I'm sitting in Citi Field and it's like a St. Louis Cardinal like throwing a no-hitter, I'm not going to be cheering for it, but I'm like, wow. It's like, you know what, at this point, just get 6 more outs and throw a no-hitter just so I can see a no-hitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it wasn't a perfect game. I mean, he did walk 3 batters, but there was a double play and a caught stealing. So all he faced was like one over the, 28 batters.
Yeah.
So it was just amazing to watch. I mean, when it happens before your eyes, I got the scorecard. I'll keep that, forever and stuff like that. But yeah, trip was Washington was good. Then I got on the end track and there was an hour delay because of mechanical failures. And then we get an announcement that someone's been hit by a train. So we were stuck for an investigation. So I didn't get home until midnight that night, believe it or not.
Got hit by a train. Did he die?
They didn't say anything, but we left Washington late. By the time I get to where my car is, and then there's traffic coming home on the Garden State Parkway. It was a long day, but definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
All right, nice. Are you planning on any other baseball trips?
No, I'm gonna keep it on the low. But it's funny. I'm going to the Mets Orioles game next Monday. And I will be rooting for the Mets, Rich. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. They got to beat the Orioles, right? So I'll be the big Met fan that night. Go Lindor. Let's go.
Yeah. Now, there's so much to get to here because, you want to dive into the baseball?
Yeah, we could dodge into the baseball. I mean, we haven't spoken in a while. I think the last time we spoke, the Mets were pretty low in the standings, low in the wild card, and then something happened on the way to the month of August, right? They're right up there now.
Yes, they're right. Yeah, they're right up there now. And I'm pretty proud of the way they've been playing. I mean, the reason I say that is I don't know, they're hitting something right now that I don't know what's wrong. They're just not hitting. They're not hitting. And I think the big thing was moving Lindor from 2 to 1 because right now his average is out of control from being brought up to the number 1 hole, leading off. I mean, he's turned himself into an MVP, a legit candidate for the MVP this year because not only are his numbers, I mean, I have his numbers here. Lindor's numbers right now are he's got 22 home runs, 67 RBIs. He's batting 258, 24 stolen bases, and he's playing a ridiculous shortstop. I mean, in my eyes, that's an all-around candidate for an MVP, especially this day and age. I mean, somebody else might have a higher average. Maybe somebody else has a couple more home runs, but this guy's doing it on the field. And when I mean on the field, people are looking at him. And when he plays well, he starts off well, Nimmo's hitting, Alonso's hitting. And I think we've actually found our third baseman too. Brett Beatty, I don't know what's going to happen with him. We should have used him as trade bait. I don't know what's going to happen. But Vientos is our third baseman. The kid's learning the position as he goes, and he's starting to play it better. Okay, he's making the plays that he wasn't making a couple weeks ago, but he is tearing the cover off the ball. I mean,
17 home runs for Vientos,
17 home runs, 44 RBIs. He's got some stolen bases. His average is about 240 something. I mean, this is a team right now that when they get up, this is the team right now that a couple months ago, when I looked at them, I was like, this team sucks. I don't even want to watch them. It's like everybody's an out. It's the exact opposite right now for me as a Met fan because I look at this team right now. It's like, let's just say, Nimmo gets up and he strikes out. I have full confidence that Martinez, Alonso, McNeil, Vientos, one of these guys is going to step up. Alvarez is going to step up and get a hit, if not 3 or 4 of them, because the locker room to me looks now like a real baseball team where we're picking each other up. We're not pointing fingers. Like, what about you? What about you? No, I suck today. Pick me up. There's days Lindor was 0 for 4 last week, I think, in 2 games. Vientos and Alvarez had monster games. Alonso the other night had a monster game the other night. You can talk about Alonso, because I think Alonso is starting to realize who he is. I don't think Alonso is going to make a big deal about wanting, Aaron Judge money or anything. You know what I mean? Because I think if you look at Pete Alonso, I think a lot of people mistake Pete Alonso for being cocky, for him just to being a goof or like a doofy guy. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that Alonso has it in him to go to that front office and say, I'm Pete Alonso. You got to give me $300 million. I think Pete Alonso likes being kind of like the clown in the clown in the locker room, and he's going to hit his home runs, listen, and putting people in front of him and behind him is helping with Martinez in front of him. Martinez coming to this team, hitting home runs, RBIs, firing up the team, him and Lindor having that conversation a couple, 2 or 3 months ago, and getting the team all fired up. They look like a team. And we haven't had a show since Nimmo started tearing the cover off the ball. And I owe Brandon Nimmo a huge apology because I wanted him off the team. And how I'm very, I get very emotional about the Mets. At the end of the day, Nimmo, you're not a center fielder. Nimmo, you don't deserve the money. But, if anybody has actually came to call and to the Met fans who said they wanted him gone, Brandon Nimmo has come to play baseball this year. Brandon Nimmo has come to play on a team where he's not going to tell everybody he's the best left fielder. You know why? He's not even going to tell anybody he's the best center fielder because Harrison Bader walks in. Harrison Bader, center field is all yours. You're a better fielder than me. I'll go to left field. So just all that kind of stuff wrapped into one is the fact that these Mets have each other's backs. There's no finger pointing. They're saying, Pete, what are you doing striking out? No, this team has each other's backs. And they addressed pitching, which is good too. They addressed the middle relief. That's good. And it hurt me in my heart to see Kodai Senga go down just the way Diaz did. I mean, Eric, he had 11 strikeouts in that game, dude.
Yep.
I mean, and then he a freak accident like Edwin Diaz. You know what I mean? So
Crazy.
This Mets team, I think, to me, and I think like I think that they're playing like a team now. And I think Lindor is going to be in the conversation to be to be in the MVP. But you also can't be losing 2 out of 3 to the Angels. You also can't be losing 2 out of 3. Although they picked it up with Colorado. You can't lose 2 to Seattle. Not saying Seattle's not playing well, but you can't go on these West Coast trips and hide at 10 o'clock at night and have Met fans wake up the next day and find out that you got shut out twice by the Seattle Mariners. Why? Seattle Mariners, what do they have? Ken Griffey Jr. on that team all of a sudden? I mean, even their main player, Julio Rodriguez, is not playing that well this year.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he has spurts. So it's not like you're playing against a juggernaut of a Seattle Mariners team with King Felix pitching. It's like you got shut out twice by a team that's probably just as good as you.
Yeah, and that's the key. You mentioned it, Rich. The hitting's been picking up, but the starting rotation, is it enough though? Quintana, Severino, Minaya, Peterson, Blackburn, they just got from the A's. Is it enough to be there in October? I don't know if they have that number one. Senga was a shame. I totally agree. Came out and then unfortunately gets hurt the same game. Basically, what a tragedy that was.
Yeah, I mean, and Diaz is starting to look like Diaz, but you just made a great point. I think Sean Manaea right now is pitching above his pay grade because he's pitching amazing right now. But I don't think Sean Manaea, coming out against name your pitcher if they're playing the Phillies, what I mean? Like name your pitcher. Sean Manaea, he's not my World Series number one. You know what I mean? He's not my playoff number one. And you need at least one dominating guy. Like look at a team like Houston when Verlander was at his peak. He's like, I'm pitching every inning. You need me tomorrow, I'm going to pitch. That's a guy who's going to come out and do. We don't have that guy, to head our pitching staff. And I'm like, they're getting back to being relevant in the pitching category, but they don't have that guy. They just don't. And for the Mets, and I knew like when the Mets were hitting on all cylinders there for like a month straight, everybody was hitting, and that just couldn't continue. You know what I mean? That just the way they were hitting. For that to continue for an entire season, that's a historic baseball team. That's murderer's row. You know what I mean? And the only reason why I'm comparing it to that is because if they kept that till the end of the season, nobody's keeping up that way of hitting for the whole season. So you have to throw in some kind of pitching. You have to get a number one guy in there that this hitting is going to say, you know what? We're lacking tonight. We got to get on the pitcher's back tonight. You know what I mean? Or, and they're doing the little things too. Like I was killing McNeil there for a little while, and McNeil finally came around. So they need somebody to step up and be that guy I'm going to go out there, I'm going to pitch 9 innings, so I'm going to strike out 12. And you guys, they need that guy, and I just think that's where they're going to get beat.
Well, the whole country gets to watch them tonight. They're on Sunday night baseball, a very rare Mets-Mariners game on Sunday night baseball tonight. But, they got shut out the past 2 nights, but they came off of from playing at Coors. And there's always that Coors Field letdown, when teams leave Coors. So it's always happened where teams struggle the couple of nights afterwards. But, the schedule, it's easy for them. They come home, they play Oakland, and I think they play the Marlins to the 6 games. And then they finish the homestand against the Orioles. But then it's back out to the West Coast, Padres and Diamondbacks and White Sox. They come home.
Yeah. Now, you froze again.
On this schedule. They really got to get fat.
Now, like I said, I know we talk about this all the time, and we talk about all the bullshit about like, I don't care if the Mets, and I'm not even going to bring up the Mets and the Yankees because I don't care that the Mets swept the Yankees, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. I don't care. I would rather the Mets have swept Atlanta. I would rather the Mets have swept. I don't care about that Mets-Yankees series as much as some people think that they do, because you know why? At the end of the day, it's just a W. They play 9 games against the Phillies in September, dude. What is going on there? They haven't played the Phillies. Okay. And those are huge games. Now, maybe they're setting it up for the fact that they're hoping that the Mets are going to continue the way they're doing, and those games are going to be, are going to be relevant. But how do you look at the Mets playing Baltimore, or the Mets playing the Yankees, or the Mets playing Kansas City as relevant baseball games? They need to keep the Mets and Yankees because it's fun. But this whole interleague bullshit means nothing at the end of the day for your win-loss record. If you're fighting for, if you're fighting for a wild card, or if you're fighting for a division title, those Yankee wins only mean a win. They don't mean division wins. They don't mean National League wins. They don't mean shit at the end of the day to me. I don't know if you feel the same way, but wouldn't you rather see them play those 4 games against the Boston Red Sox? You know what I mean? Or, or even the Baltimore Orioles, play some more against them. I don't care that the Mets and Yankees are playing. It's a spectacle, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything but bragging rights.
Yeah, intercompany games are interleague games are a joke, Rich. I mean, the Yankees, I think, only play 7 divisional games in September. They finished with Pittsburgh too. I mean, the Mets, it looks like they're stocked in September with divisional games with the East and stuff. I mean, the Yankees are already finished with the Rays and the Jays. No more games against them. Only 4 more games. Crazy.
Like, why do you think they do that? Because do you think that they're catering to the casual fan? Right.
The reason why it's Rob Manfred, Rich. Mm-hmm. Rob Manfred has wrecked baseball, basically. He's the worst commissioner ever. I mean, even with the clock speeds up the games. I enjoy that, but still with the ghost runner. I mean, do away with that already. I mean, you get the ghost runner on second base, and you're gonna get a bunt and a ground ball. The run scores. The next team comes up, bunt and a ground ball. I mean, what's the deal with that? I can't stand that rule, Rich. That's got to go.
The first time I saw anything in resemblance of the Ghost Runner, I was in Delaware with Aiden when he was 11 years old.
League, right? Little League.
Yeah, at a tournament down in Delaware. And it was 0-0 going into extra innings. All of a sudden, put a guy, they called it California rules back then, I guess. But put a runner to second. Why? To speed up the game. Fine. You're never doing it in Major League Baseball? I mean, if you're like, Eric, how come somebody doesn't score every single time? How come somebody legit? I don't give a shit if you're. Well, Juan Soto actually did it, and I give him kudos. Like, he laid down that bunt a couple of weeks ago, and But why doesn't somebody? I don't give a shit who you are. Like the shift. Like we always talk about the shift.
I just.
Yes.
Where 7 pitchers would be pitching, you have a tie game going to the 19th inning. Pitchers are used as pinch runners. Pitchers are actually batting. There's so much chaos going on. You don't get the chaos anymore, Rich. It's very vanilla, if you ask me.
No. How come? Like I said, if I'm the Mets, right, and let's just say Pete Alonso's up, okay? You got Lindor. Nimmo made the last out. Okay, Nimmo's at second base. I'm Pete Alonso. I don't give a shit because you know what? There's no way in hell they're gonna expect Pete Alonso to bunt. At least try to lay down a bunt. You know what I mean? Because that will move the runner. And then you have JD Martinez up. Get a little base. Then you have 3 shots to get a base, or 2 more shots to get a base hit. Even if you just bunt it down the first baseline and just let that guy get to third base, that's all you got to do. Then you got 2 more shots to get that guy home. Even if you do a suicide squeeze twice in a row, something's going to happen.
Yep.
If anything, you do a suicide squeeze for the second out, you cause chaos because you don't know what the next guy's going to do. You know he's not going to bunt, but you don't know how he's going to go in. It's mind games, and they don't even play the mind game.
Why do you think the Yankees had the worst extra inning record last year? Because they didn't have guys to move guys over.
Yeah, and I know you're not this guy, but I hate when I hear Yankee fans say the Yankees don't bunt. The Yankees don't ever bunt. Why? It's fucking baseball, dude. Yankees bunt. They should bunt. Juan Soto did it a couple of weeks ago. And I was very happy when I saw that. Juan Soto, one of the best hitters in the game right now, laid down a bunt because he saw it relevant.
Rich, he's done it 5 times this year. At least 5 or 6 times I've seen him do it.
I know
he gets on first base.
Yeah,
because look who's batting behind. Look who's batting next in the order.
And let's just. All right, you know what? I gave you my stuff about the Mets. Let's go into the Yankees and that fucking Judge, dude. The guy he's and again, a little crazy because what's his name last week said, oh, look at Aaron Judge getting the Barry Bonds treatment. Okay, he's getting the Barry Bonds treatment. Let's take it easy. But he is just amazing. Like, you cannot throw him a pitch in the strike zone because if you do, it's gone or it's hit really hard. Like, are you enjoying watching this guy play as a Yankee fan as much as like people that aren't Yankee fans?
Isn't he great to watch, Rich? I mean, such a non-controversial guy too. I mean, the guy just goes out, plays. You never see any controversy with Judge or anything like that. The one thing about Judge is that the Mets had that closed players meeting, and the Yankees are struggling. I don't know if they have that closed Yankee players meeting we never heard about, but you would think Judge would have brought the guys in there. But look at the Yankees. They made the trade for Jazz Chisholm, and Jazz is like he's a cancer in the clubhouse and stuff like that. Look at Jazz for a second, Rich. Look at the Marlins. Who's the leader on the Marlins down there in the clubhouse? You know, they got a manager that's on the way out. It's total bizarre chaos down there in that locker room. How is somebody supposed to behave in that locker room?
Exactly.
Right?
Now this kid Jazz Chisholm comes to the Yankees and he's playing like an MVP right now.
And not only that, they put him on third base, Rich, and he's flawless at third base.
Yeah, and that to me, that's the one thing I think that we talk about A-Rod and we talk about his character and stuff like that. It's like that's hard for somebody to do. I mean, I'm not saying, and I'm not even, for A-Rod, it was probably an ego thing, which was hard. For Jazz Chisholm was a second baseman. It's a completely different position, dude. And he went there. Now, how do you think this conversation went? Because I think this conversation went a lot different. How do you think management's conversation went? Because you know that they went to Gleyber Torres first, right? I'm going to have to say, listen, Gleyber, how do you feel about moving to third base? And I think Gleyber Torres said, I'm not moving to third base. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm a second baseman. Jazz Chisholm, you come into this team. And I get it that the kid wants to, make a good impression. But there's never anything's leaked out. He did it fine. You want to play third base? Absolutely. I'm a Yankee, bro. I'm going to play third base. Whereas Gleyber Torres is, to me, I don't know how you feel about him, but not just because he's a Yankee. I mean, he's lazy. He is lazy. He might be one of the laziest baseball players I've ever seen.
Well, let's put it this way. Jazz Chisholm, Yankee in 2025. Gleyber Torres, not Yankee in 2025. That's the bottom line, Rich. I want him off the team. His head hasn't been in the game. It's a free agent for him too. You think in free agent years, guys would amp their game. He's doing the total opposite, where he's not playing the game. So he's actually losing millions of dollars by doing this, what he's doing right now. And I don't think the Yankees are going to bring him back, Rich. That's the bottom line. I think the Yankees have bigger fish to fry. The Yankees got to bring in. They got to re-sign Juan Soto, no doubt about that. They got to offer him the bank, and getting all these players off the payroll. Gleyber Torres, I know you're thinking the Mets. Clay Holmes, and all these other guys coming off the payroll will allow them to do it. But I don't think there's any way possible where they can let Juan Soto walk this offseason.
They cannot let him go, dude. They can't, because you're not talking about a guy that's just contributing. You're talking about probably one of the top 3 best players in baseball.
At 25 years old.
25. And it's every time they flash his age and they show his accolades, it's amazing. It really is amazing what he's done up until 25 years old. If you look at his stats and his accolades, he looks like a seasoned veteran. Like, it looks like he's been around for 15 years.
Doesn't he? You could tell his maturity too and stuff like that for a 25-year-old. The way he talks to the media and stuff. I mean, it seems like he has been around for so long and stuff like that. It's funny going to the Nationals game and they got Juan Soto stuff there, and I was like, oh yeah, Juan Soto played with the Nationals. It's like it seems like it was 20 years ago, but yeah, it's just crazy what this guy's done. And it's crazy where he's going to finish in his career, Rich, being so young, getting off to a start like that. It's just mind-boggling when he's all like said and done, like 37, 38 years old, where he'll be in the number board for his stats and stuff, basically.
Yeah. Like, do you think, like, somebody said something the other night, and I kind of agree. I think that trade's going to work out for Washington.
The trade's going to wash out for Washington and San Diego. It's going to work out for.
Well, yeah. But the point I'm making, though, is, that whole trade thing, like with these pitchers that are pitching now, these young kids. That kid, what's his name? That one kid, Wood, that pitches for the he was involved.
The outfielder. He's the outfielder, Wood.
Right. I'm trying to get the names, but there's a couple of really young kids that were involved in that situation where those teams weren't going to win then. But though they're coming into and saying, wow, this trades may not have been a bad thing because these players they're contributing.
Yeah, not just like the shortstop CJ Abrams, he was in the trade. Mackenzie Gore, that's the pitcher looking at, the lefty.
Yeah.
They're just stacked. And Wood, you know, and you Luke Voigt, whatever, he's way gone. Luke Voigt, I don't know what he's doing now, but yeah, that was some trade. And then when they traded Soto when the Padres trade Soto to the Yankees, they get Drew Thorpe back and a bunch of guys, and then they trade Drew Thorpe for Dylan Cease. So kind of ironic that, like we said, the Padres traded Juan Soto, and they kind of like haven't missed a beat, basically.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't. Because you're right. They haven't lost any ground. They gained a little bit of ground, but they haven't lost any ground, you know, and that trade might work out for everybody, you know. And, you know, back to Jazz Chisholm for a second. Him being a Yankee and him being as vocal as he is, he fits in perfectly in that lineup, I think, dude.
Yep.
Because he's not coming to that team to be the best player. He's coming to that team, obviously, to contribute, because him moving to third base was a big deal. So, and I know it's got something to do with the uniform. You know, it's got something to do with that Yankee uniform that you gotta, or, you know, you just get sucked in. It's like, oh, I'm a Yankee. Like, yes, Yankees, whatever you want me to do. But he's a type of guy that he fits in perfectly in that lineup. Exactly what they needed.
Well, let's look back at the Mets series. So the Mets series, you had Jomani Jones batting first. Then you had Soto, Judge, and J.D. Davis batting fourth. So look at the major turnaround the Yankees lineup has done now, where the other night I was like complimenting the Yankees because in 2009, they won the World Series with 7 lefty bats. The only righty bats were A-Rod and Jeter. And then look at the other night, they had 7 lefty bats, and the only righty bats were Volpe and Judge. So, you know, that was, I don't know what Brian Cashman's been doing for the past 15 years, but the whole Yankee premises, the Yankees were built on lefties since the beginning with Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. They were built on lefties and stuff. So it's like, you know, you need your lefties in Yankee Stadium. That's the bottom line. And by putting this lineup there with 7 lefties, I mean, they did lose 2 out of 3 to the Angels, but you have these double headers all the time. The double headers are tough, Rich. And, you know, if they split a double header, and yesterday they split a double header too, I'm okay with that, because double headers aren't the best. And these weren't even day-night double headers. These were old-fashioned double headers the Yankees had, where they start up 45 minutes after the last game, first game, I should say. But I think the Yankees' MO going into August and September is pretty good, because I was in Yankee Stadium at the end of June where they got trounced by the Orioles. And since that day, Rich, to now, they're only a game out of first place. They were in first. They're a game out of first place. You know why? Because the Orioles have sucked too. The Orioles, everyone's talking about these kids and stuff, but the Orioles pitching, they got Corbin Burns, but who's after Burns? All of a sudden, the Yankees pitching. Look at the Yankees pitching. Carlos Rodon is like, the guy's going to win the Cy Young. The guy's pitching is like, you know, they all had a brief period of time where all the pitchers were bad. Even Garrett Cole's coming back. He's not looking 100%. He did strike out like 10 or 11 yesterday, but, you know, they took him out in the 5th, 6th inning. But he hasn't looked that great since he came back. You got Nasty Nestor's been horrible. Stroman's been horrible. He's pitching today. But, you know, Clark Schmidt's coming back. It's going to be interesting to see what the Yankees do. You got Luis Gil. Gil had a period where I went to the Orioles game. He gave up 6 runs in the first inning. So all pitchers go through that timeline, Rich. I mean, you can't be like Garrett Cole last year, who pretty much we knew he was going to sign him. He had no flaws, even though the team sucked. He had no flaws. But, you know, as long as Judge and Soto can stay healthy, Rich, I think the Yankees will be there, because it looks like there's other guys contributing now. Austin Wells is catcher, batting 4th. The guy's been hitting the ball. He's been in the tar of the ball. When he came up in the beginning of the season, they had Trevino catching. How are you going to give this guy work if you don't play him, you know? So now Trevino's coming back. The Yankees better keep Wells as their number 1 catcher now. And then, like you said, Jazz Chisholm at the trade deadline. I think the Jazz Chisholm trade might have been the best trade around. We were talking about all these trades going on. I mean, Jack Flaherty went to the Dodgers and stuff. There was some talk about other guys moving. I think Chisholm coming to the Yankees was huge. And,
Absolutely.
You know, and he's been showing it on the field too. They went into Philadelphia, Rich. They annihilated the Phillies in that series. They swept them. And why? Because Chisholm hit like 4 or 5 home runs in that series, basically, you know. But I know you rooted for the Yankees in those games because
oh my God, 100%. 100%. Me and Aiden were like, let's go Yankees.
But, you know, then they come over and something like with the hangover, you know, you sweep the Phillies and you have this hangover. I mean, you lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels. You're playing the Rangers now. There's a chance they can lose 2 out of 3 to the Angels because, you know, to the Rangers because Stroman's on the mound today. But, you know, I look at the Yankee schedule. The Yankee schedule was pretty easy for August. I mean, they're only playing the Indians. I'm sorry, the Guardians. Those are only 3 tough games. But if you look, they're playing the Rangers. They play the White Sox and the Tigers this week on the road. They come back, play the Guardians, the Rockies, the Nationals, and then the Cardinals. And then if you look in September, they go to Texas, play the Rangers, and play the Cubs. They play the Royals and Red Sox at home. They go out to Seattle and Oakland. Oakland's closing the Coliseum when the Yankees are out there. And then you finish up the Orioles and Pirates. These schedules like really not that tough. The Yankees got to win these games, but it seems like the Yankees, the Guardians, and the Orioles have been dancing all year, even with the Yankees, not even showing up between June and late July, basically. To be where they are, it's incredible.
Exactly. There's something funny, like, I was at Myrtle Beach this week, and my wife's mind was blown for some, like, this week, because I'm at Myrtle Beach, right? And we're just walking on the beach, you know what I mean? Walking on the beach, no shirt. I got a Met hat on, and I'm just walking, and I just literally just out of the blue, I see a guy wearing a Braves hat. Now he's at the beach, he's not at the stadium. He's just got a Braves hat on. He's playing with his kid in the sand. And I am holding my wife's hand. We're walking, and I said, babe, watch this. And I looked at him. I said, yo, bro, we're coming for you. Without skipping a beat, the guy turns to me and just goes, yo, I know. Listen, they're not playing that good either. It's like, I'm a little afraid of it. And we instantaneously, within a half a second, he knew what I was talking about because he saw my wife's like, how did he know what you were talking about? Because he had a Braves hat on. He's a Braves fan. It's like, and I did the same thing to a Phillies fan. And like without skipping, and somebody did it to me too. And without skipping a beat, we just know, and this guy is playing in the sand with his kids, crazy all over the place. I make one little comment about his hat, and maybe he knew he had a Braves hat on, or maybe he didn't. He just figured it because he saw my Mets hat. Within a half a second, we were talking about Mets and Braves. It blew my wife's mind. It's like, how are you guys so in tune with sports? It's like, because
it's funny.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, at the Jets game yesterday, there was a kid wearing a guy wearing a Doug Williams Redskins jersey, and I said to him, "Wow, Doug Williams, great jersey." And I said, "I got the Buccaneers on. I'm a Bucs fan." And he goes, "Oh man, worst to first." And I said, "Yeah, 5 touchdowns in the Super Bowl for you guys." So he knew the Doug Williams story that took the Buccaneers from worst to first, and I knew, of course, the 5 touchdowns in the Super Bowl against the Broncos. Yeah. So yeah, it's funny how we're so connected to sports. It's funny,
Yep. Like if you're a man and you're into sports, you're right. That is a big connection between men. Like, you know what I mean? Like sports is a huge connection because, and mind you, did I tell you that he had 4 girls too, this guy? He was playing with 4 little girls. You know what I mean? So it's like it's craziness going on. But you're right. That is a big time connection between men. It's sports. Like we just know what we're talking about. And it doesn't matter what sports. You know what I mean? Like I had to explain this Knicks hat that I'm wearing. Like I'm wearing a Knicks hat. And I'm going to let you guys know I'm wearing a Knicks hat. I won't go into too much detail, but you know that I'm a huge Celtics fan, right? Now, the only reason why I'm saying this is because somebody, this person doesn't know me. I had a Knicks hat on, and he had a Celtics jersey on, this guy. And he says to me, he's like, Knicks, huh? He's like, he starts talking about Jalen Brunson. And I was like, he had a Celtics jersey on. And I'm like, I got to stop this guy and tell him the reason. So he goes, better luck next year with the Knicks. And I was like, brother, I have to explain something to you for a second here. I go, I'm actually a Celtics fan. He goes, you're not a goddamn Celtics fan. You got to wear a Knicks hat. So I had to take a deep breath. And I said, all right, I have to explain to you my thing. So I'll explain it to you as well. We all know Ernie Alford passed, okay? Ernie Alford is probably one of the biggest Knicks fans I know, okay? And we would go back and forth all the time. He'd break my chops about the Knicks and the Celtics. We would have such a spirited conversations, okay? Alicia, his wife, dropped a bag full of hats off to the house. Now, I pull out 5 Knicks hats, and I'm looking at these hats, and I'm like, you mother effer. It's like, you definitely did this on purpose, So, and I pull this hat out. It's a Mitchell Ness hat, Knicks hat, and I know he always wore these Knicks hats. So, you know what? I am literally putting this Knicks hat. You know how I feel about Ernie. I'm putting this Knicks fan on my head as a tribute to one of my best friends that has passed. And funny that this Celtics fan got it. You know what I mean? He goes, he must have been a really good friend. And I said, one of the best guys I've ever met. And he goes, you know what, bro? And he shook my hand. He goes, wear that Knicks fan proud. He goes, but I better see you wearing a Celtics shirt at least one day this week. So I wore my Bird jersey one day and I saw him. And he's like, all right. So that's the reason why I do wear this Knicks hat. Mm-hmm. And it's a tribute to literally one of the greatest men that I've ever met in my entire life, was a huge Knicks fan. So much of a huge Knicks fan that he refused to watch the Knicks this year because he said, I haven't watched the game yet, and they might win a championship. So he didn't watch one game.
And they got close too.
Ironically, the day they were kicked out of the playoffs, he died.
Unreal.
How crazy is that, dude?
Unreal.
So this Knicks hat, anybody's listening out there, you guys know I'm a Celtics fan. You can break my chops, but this is a tribute to one of the greatest men that I've ever met in my life. And I'll wear this Knicks hat proud because of Ernie.
Wow. What a tribute, Rich. Great tribute. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Wow. Yeah, I have a Knicks t-shirt too, so maybe I'll wear the Knicks t-shirt. I got it at a Knicks game a couple of years ago. They're giving them away, so maybe I will wear my Knicks t-shirt too and stuff, even though I'm not a Knicks fan. So.
And he was our biggest fan, bro. He was undercover. He would always, even if we had nobody watching, if there was one, I knew it was him. Because he'd say to me the next day, or he'd say to me like a couple of days later, he's like, yo, when are you and Eric doing another show? I got nothing to listen to. You know, I'm a truck driver. It's like, oh, you are listening. It's like, yeah. He's like, when you said this, it's like, wow, this guy listens to every word. Eric, he listened to every word we said on our podcast.
Wow. Wow. That's great. That's great. Awesome. Yeah. I definitely missed. I think our viewership's down to 0 now, Rich, right? Our listenership.
Yeah. It's all right. You know what? We're back. You know what? We're getting more views now when we put it out. You know what I mean? Because we're actually doing pretty good in that.
Well, speaking about that, Rich, and I just want to, we'll put the Yankees to rest, the Mets to rest. We still have a month and a half to go, but next week is a big week for us at the Fishkill Rec. We've been doing it for a couple of years now. We're doing the championship games for the summer. So we'll be doing media night on Friday night, which won't be shown live. It will be worked into the games when our friend Peter does it. But the Fishkill Rec League started on July 8th in the summer, and it concluded yesterday. Unfortunately, so many weather issues that they had to play Saturday games to get the season in. But my friend Eric over there and his staff with Jay and everybody, they did a remarkable job. It was one of the worst summers for weather, as you and I know, a lot of rain and everything. But they managed to get every game in. And now the playoffs start this week, and it all leads up to Saturday, Championship Saturday. I believe there's 6 divisions. There's 5th and 6th boys, 7th, 8th boys, junior varsity, co-ed, and then the 6th to 8th grade girls. So 6 divisions, whatever, cutting down the nets at the end of the night and stuff. And MURF and EDUBBS will be there. And I know last year when we did it, or in March when we did it, there was a lot of viewership. There was viewership in Puerto Rico, India, and all over the United States. So if you have a kid that's playing, make sure he tells grandma down in West Palm Beach to turn it on. The link will be shown on www.fishkillrecreation.com, the link to get in to watch the games. And of course, it'll be streamed on YouTube in the future. But it's going to be a fantastic day, Rich, on Saturday. Can't wait.
Now, this is going to be at the Rec. Like I said, I've been on vacation this week, so we're going to be at the Rec, right? Not gearing, right?
Mm-hmm. At the Rec, yeah.
No, I gotta tell you, I gotta be completely honest and be like kind of humbled about it by it too, because Jay asked us to do. I absolutely love doing this for these kids. I mean, you see the excitement on mine and yours faces, because I do watch the videos and I do listen, and that's not fake, man. Like, me and you truly love doing this. I mean, and it is like, and to see these kids, even the older kids, to not come in and just kind of like take this as like, look at these 2 silly old guys. No, everybody's so respectful. The kids are so nice. They want to speak to us. And Jay just kind of like looks at us like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I really got to thank him, because listen, do I think that we do a pretty good job, because, I think that we bounce off each other well. We do good with the play-by-play. But I even think that, me and you, I think that everybody likes our little adage, because we don't just sit there and like, this kid throws to this kid. No, I think we make it funny. And I think the kids kind of like, our silly questions, and the kids like, we call them silly names. So we're going to do this for as long as Jay wants us to do it, because being a partnership with the Fishkill Rec like this, it really, and it also opens other people's eyes. Like, I know these politicians, they like hearing it. It's good for Fishkill, and it's good for the town too, because no other town is doing this. What other town around us is doing a play-by-play for a local basketball game?
Right. It was, and I got a message from Jay's wife, Cindy, saying that this was Jay's dream to do this, to broadcast. And it's funny because when he first had the idea, it was a Friday night. I was at my mom's house. We just got home from hibachi. We went to a hibachi restaurant. We ate hibachi, and you're full and stuff after hibachi. The phone rings, and I was taking a nap actually, and my cell phone rings. It's Jay calling me. I said, Jay, I'm down in Jersey. What's up? He goes, I got a thought coming home from work the other day, and I said, wow, Jay, on your 1 mile trip home from work, you had a thought. I mean, we were laughing and stuff, and he told me what he wanted, and then I called you, and we were jumped both in it. But I think it's just more than Joey scores a bucket and they're coming down. I think it's the conversation we have during the game. It's just like a regular, like a broadcast. The guys talk about other things during the broadcast, and I am wearing the headphones, and I hear upstairs that some of the stuff that we say, I hear laughs, and it's Peter and Katrina laughing into what we're saying because they're hearing the broadcast as well when we're doing.
I'm gonna say this out loud, and I've wanted to say this out loud. I've said it on Facebook, and I've said it all over the place. I think me and you do a really good job doing play-by-play. And I think this whole Hudson Valley Renegades thing that just happened with this guy leaving, whatever, I'm not even going to say his name, Zolzer or whatever the hell his name is. But you know what, though? Eric, you've been to a lot of these Renegades games. It's boring. Am I right or wrong?
I don't watch the players, though, Rich. I'm not.
The point I'm making is everybody kisses this guy's ass. Like I said, you could stay out of this if you want, but everybody kisses this guy's ass. Why do we kiss this guy's ass? If somebody said, oh, all the charity that he does. Oh, okay, that's great. This guy thinks that I've talked to a lot of people, and the way he's been going about it, like, it's boring. He's just like, kind of like, I'm the radio guy and I'm this and I'm that. Listen, I don't know what happened to him leaving or this, that, and the other thing, but I know the guy's been there a long time. I can tell you right now, Eric, that if you put me and you in a situation with the Hudson Valley Renegades, I could guarantee that we would do a much, much better job.
Would you go in the mascot? Would you go in the mascot suit, Rich? Wear the mascot.
I would listen. Yes, I would do the mascot suit. You know what I would even want the Renegades to do for us? Listen, I know they have a broadcast, but why can't they pick us up to do something like a Peyton and Eli type thing? You know what I mean? Why can't they listen to the broadcast? Again, I don't know who does the broadcast for the Renegades. I mean, I've never listened. They might do a good job. They may not. But the point I'm making is we do a good job, Eric. We've been friends for a long time. So I literally think that we could put into a situation where my dream is to call a baseball game, just to be in front of people and to do play-by-play, because we would kill it, dude. And again, we wouldn't even we could probably go down and do the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. We probably wouldn't know one player, but we would do a great job. We're friends. We're entertaining. We might be a little goofy sometimes, but you know what? At the end of the day, we know our shit, dude. And if you don't listen, we're a little sarcastic sometimes. We're funny, but we want to be serious. We know our shit because we're sports fans. I think a lot of these broadcasters right now, they get away from the fact that they were once fans. I think that it adds to something when you're a fan. And you don't even have to be a fan of the team that you're calling. You have to be a fan of the sport, because excitement oozes through TV, through radio, especially through radio. It oozes. You have to have personality. And watching that guy run around that stadium, it's boring. And I'll say it again. He was boring. Why can't I get that job? Why can't you get that job? Why can't me and you run around Hudson Valley Renegade Stadium? They're the goddamn Yankees. They need a little character in that stadium, dude. And again, I know you don't want to get into the whole thing, pointing fingers, but I'm telling you right now, Hudson Valley Renegades, New York Yankees. I don't have a college degree. Eric's got an accounting degree. I think he's got enough college for the both of us. We will do a better job than what you guys got going on in that stadium now. And if you want to give us a shot, you could call us up on a Tuesday and we'll be there in an hour. We don't even need preparation. That's how good we are. And I'm tooting our own horn right now, Eric, because we have been doing this podcast for a little while and we get to do it when we can. And it's not even like, look, me and you haven't done a podcast since June 21st. Look what we're doing right now.
Yep.
It's smooth. It's easy. We disagree. We agree. We're not your regular vanilla, generic two guys calling a game. We are fans of the sport. And that's what has to happen in these little minor league stadiums.
And
like I was listening to the Pelicans guys. They got so much character then, and you hear them in the microphones. It's like, you need character in these minor league stadiums. And that guy being gone should open up the door for somebody with some kind of character to do something in that stadium.
So I don't know if you heard yesterday, the Yankee, I think today too, Greg Carton. Remember Greg Carton from WFAN?
I want to ask you about that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm driving home from the Jets game, and I put on the Yankee game with Susan Waldman and Greg Carton's calling the game. It was very entertaining. The guy made me laugh, Rich. You know,
Yes.
you want that during a game. And even when he called the home run, Jazz Chisholm hit a home run, you could say, "Oh my God, it's my first home run I ever called." It's like the guy was like, all of a sudden, Susan Waldman goes, "Wow, what's all this food coming in?" And he said that he knows the chef at Yankee Stadium. So the guy's thinking like, yeah. So it's amazing. He did such a good job yesterday, Rich. And I think he might get hired for the job because, when John Sterling was a character, you need that character in there.
Yes,
you can't put people to sleep. Even like last night, I'm listening to the Buccaneers game because it wasn't on TV, but I'm listening. The Buccaneers have this announcer, Gene Deckenworth. He's been with the team, I think, since 1976, since their inception. The guy's a character. You listen for that. You listen for Vince Scully. You listen for Bob Uecker. These were characters. I remember as a kid, every night, Phil Rizzuto, Frank Messer, and Bill White, Frank Messer, and Phil Rizzuto every night. That's what my childhood was, Rich. Listen to these three guys entertain. And now you're getting that with the Mets. You're getting Keith, Gary, and Darling. You're getting the same thing happening when I was a kid. You're getting with the SNY
right
guys
there,
now.
right above me. The best team in sports right now, hands down, and not because they're ex-Mets, because they're fans and they murder the team when they're doing bad, and they give them their accolades when they're doing good, and they're funny. That's why.
Even last week, I was watching the Mets game, and somebody wasn't in the booth. I said to Ben, I said, "It doesn't sound like all three are here today." You go, "No, I think Keith's going to St. Louis for the Cardinals game." I said, "Oh wow, yeah." So you could tell, but when they're all together, you could see the chemistry right there. Even
that picture I keep above us. I'm friend of mine, Ryan Batke. He's a collector. And he collects everything. He did not have to do this for me. A while ago, 2 years ago, whatever. We were at a baseball game at John Jay. Our kids played baseball together, but he didn't have to give that to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not friends with him like that. We know each other, it's like, but he gave it to me because you know why? Because he knows I'm a fan. You know what I mean? And I keep that above here because we can do that, Eric. And I have full confidence we can do that. And I just want somebody to try and give us a chance, and it sounds like I'm pleading, but I don't have a college degree. I just have a personality and I'm a fan. And I think that just because some kid sat in a college for 4 years with a communication degree doesn't mean he has more character than me or you. Doesn't mean he could call a baseball game better than me or you. So I'm talking to the Hudson Valley Renegades right now. If anybody in that stadium, anybody in that PR department is listening, give us a shot. Please, because I guarantee you will not be dissatisfied. We will do a great job. I would love to start there. Like I said, Eric, like you, wouldn't it be a dream come true to be sitting like Craig Carton calling a Yankee game, or me calling a Mets game, me and you calling a Mets and Yankees game? That would be a dream come true for me to do that. And not because I want to hear myself talk. It's just because I love the sport that much. You love the sport that much that I think that we can give something to the fans that a lot of people can't.
Yeah, a lot of the fans, like, baseball is a very tricky sport for fans. A lot of fans go there to watch the game, and then a lot of fans go there for the entertainment, the food, whatever. You got to keep everyone engaged, basically. That's what you got to do. Yep.
The way me and you talk, you're going to tell me, even during between innings, we can't keep us a packed Hudson Valley Renegade Stadium engaged for 2 hours.
Rich, we talked for 8 hours on Championship Sunday.
Exactly. Come on. I would be you'd have to calm me down a little bit. I'm sure you're always that calming force. This is why we're good together.
We got to promote Saturday. Then we got to get it out there and stuff like that.
We're going to. Don't think I'm not going to get in what's his name's ear. I'm going to say, listen. I don't think I'm not going to say his name. Well, let's say his name. Don't think I'm not going to get in Carmine's here this weekend. Hey, listen, buddy. Give us a shot somewhere, man. I know you got connections.
We could be the official press guys for Fishkill. Whenever there's a press conference, me and you go there.
Whatever. And again, it's not because I want to hear me and you talk. It's because I think that we'd be doing an amazing job.
Yep, yep. Like, hey, everyone, here's the dedication of the new flagpole at the Fishkill Rural Cemetery. Murph and EDUBBS on.
You know what? Listen, this weekend, we really got to start pushing the issue, bro. And I'm not even kidding. Like, when I'm telling you this isn't some shtick, dude. We talked about this like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, don't forget we're doing the football too. We got a football gig coming up.
I can't wait to do that.
Also, I got to speak to Peter. Maybe we could do some pickleball too. Some announcing on pickleball.
I don't care. Give me a pickleball. I know nothing about pickleball, but I'll read for an hour, and I'm sure it'll be entertaining. I'll do ping pong. I'll do track and field, golf. We just want to talk.
Now, remember, pickleball has nothing to do with what's on your plate and eat a pastrami sandwich. Okay, I'll just put it out there. Although there is something called the kitchen on pickleball, so do your research. You'll see what the kitchen's all about.
Yeah. I have no idea, but I'm sure I'll find out, and I'm sure we'll make it funny.
Well, it's funny because Jody and I went to that resort in Pennsylvania. We're going again in September, and I took a pickleball course, and I loved it. It was great. Yeah. It was really cool. And the instructor said, "You've played before?" I said, "No, why?" She goes, it seems like you're a natural. I said, I just picked up a pickleball paddle. Actually, the Mets had pickleball paddle night. It's hard to say that fast. Pickleball paddle night a couple of months ago. But I couldn't go that night. But pickleball is getting big now. And as a matter of fact, the South Hills Mall, the Christmas tree store is going to be a pickleball thing now. So they're going to have pickleball in there. So.
Now, you mentioned something before, too. Now, I wasn't there for the meeting. Are we doing this, the Southern Duchess Patriots?
Yeah, we are. So I spoke. Yeah, we could speak about that. We did speak to I spoke to the head of the Southern Duchess Patriots Football League, the president. We sat down with Peter. Peter's all in. We're all in. We're going to get the booth at John Jay because that's where they play. And there'll be Wi-Fi there. So that was the only concern was Wi-Fi, but there should be Wi-Fi in that booth. So we should be good.
What age group are we going to be doing?
That's the question. They're going to have another meeting soon. They were waiting for the schedule to come out. The schedule hasn't come out yet. So, of course, it'll be in September sometime. So we just had like an initial talk. It was the night of it was the night that big storm came through. There was a lot of blackouts and stuff. So, it was kind of hard with communication and stuff like that. But we'll speak to one of the coaches this weekend. He should be at the basketball. So one of the guys whose son plays, so he can fill us in on more details.
Yeah. I also heard that Sweeney Murdy's kid is playing in this league.
Yeah, we got to get Sweeney on the air. Yeah, definitely. And Kylo Quinn of the Knicks. He showed up last year. His nephew played. So maybe we can get Kylo Quinn.
Right, listen, guys, you want to come talk to Murph and EDUBBS, give us a little boost right there,
No, it starts with that. Then it gets to the big guys and stuff like that later on and stuff, Yeah, hey, come over here, Aaron Judge. Talk to Murph and EDUBBS,
Sure.
Boy, Aaron Judge, you're tall. Oh, better yet. Hey, Caitlin Clark, you got the first pitch for the Yankees yesterday. Why don't you come join Murph and EDUBBS on the Murph and EDUBBS show?
No, not for nothing. She responded to one of my TikTok videos.
Oh, wow. Nice.
One of my TikTok videos, Caitlin Clark. So I'm just saying.
There you go.
I mean? Listen, just briefly, let's talk about her for a second. She is amazing. When I say amazing, I don't just mean she's an amazing basketball player, because that she is, okay? The way she's handled this bullshit, and again, it's getting better because of the way she's handling it. The way she's handling this as a young girl and not sticking her tail between her legs and crying, she's just getting better and better and better. Now, the first girl from the WNBA that signs that $1 million contract, you better turn around and thank Caitlin Clark with everything you have, because without her at this moment, you are still not relevant. And I'm sorry, but that's 100% true. I don't care.
And the league's not relevant. The league's not relevant either. The league.
The league is becoming relevant now.
Right. Now they are. Yeah.
30,000 people watching the Sparks a couple of weeks ago because she was in the building. 30,000 people at a WNBA game, dude, where they were pulling 5. And
they were flying commercial. Now they're flying, they're flying their own planes now with the team. These teams are on regular planes with everybody, Now they have chartered flights. And it's all because of Caitlin Clark.
A lot of these girls, their hate is like, oh, it's only because of her. Well, you were traveling coach. It's not because this girl went to the league and says, I need this or I need that. No, the league is smart in saying that everybody's watching her. She's not complaining. Every time she gets an elbow to the chest, she does not get up and complain. She gets up and drains a 3 right in that girl's face.
Mhm.
I
You
mean,
know,
and this whole thing, like, oh, her heart thing, and dude, she's been doing that since she's 5 years old.
well, the NBA, Rich, in the late 70s, the NBA finals were shown on a tape delay basis. They were going to show live on network TV. So the NBA didn't come into the map till like the 80s, let's say. And now the WNBA, 40 years later, they were around for 20 years. So they're finally hitting the map, the WNBA.
Yeah,
So it
and
takes that one
it's
player.
all because of her.
Yeah,
Nobody else. All
100%.
strictly because of her.
100%.
Listen, you had Lisa Leslie was in that in the WNBA.
Sue Bird,
Pick
all these guys.
pick your Cheryl Miller. Like
Mhm.
pick your great WNBA player. Nobody was watching. They're watching now. I'm watching.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everyone's watching now. The sports fans are watching. You know.
Yeah. I watched the gold medal game, the semifinal game the other day, and just to peek in, these girls are starting to play better. They're starting to play more. Not that they're starting to play better. Maybe they're getting more confident, or like I don't know what it is, but if you don't think that it's all because of Caitlin Clark, then you're not watching, or you just have a stupid take on it.
And I guarantee you, Rich, next weekend when we do the games, there's gonna be some Caitlin Clark fans out there, from both the girls and the boys side, I think, So yeah.
I'm thinking of getting a Caitlin Clark jersey. I really am. I'll wear a number 22 Fever jersey. Because like I said, I think that girl, you know what it is? She's doing something for a sport. And she's not doing something for a sport where she's complaining about it. She's getting on that court and people are watching because of her. And it's the sole reason. And again, I'm going to say it. The first girl that gets that $1 million contract, you better go out and buy Caitlin Clark a steak dinner or something, because it's solely because of her that you're getting all this money.
Yep, and she didn't even make the Olympic team. Look at that, right?
And you heard her answer too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe in a couple of years, I'll make it. I am a rookie. You know what I mean? There's other girls in this league that deserve it. There's other girls in this league that are on that team that will mother effing you the whole season, and you still have nice things to say about it. That to me is a leader. And that is, I'm not going to go into the whole, that's a leader to me, because I have when these conversations with the LeBron and Michael Jordan, we're not going to go into that, but there are certain things that go into being great, and certain things like that. LeBron James to me is not great. He's not humble. I think what he's doing to his kid is terrible. There's things that go into being great, and not just scoring points. And of course that has a lot to do with it. But if you have people that are doing statistically almost the same thing, you have to look at character. You have to. Yep. And her character is the reason why WNBA is becoming a huge sport now.
Yeah, and congratulations to the women's team. They won the gold medal. They beat France by 1 point. So the men's and women's team win by one. Well, not the men's team by 1 point, but the men's and women's team both beat France. But Rich, I'm hearing a lot of stuff about this men's team, and I know Steph Curry had an amazing game yesterday. But how can you compare the early 90s, the first Dream Team, to this Dream Team? How can you compare the two? I mean, people are saying this is the greatest team ever. I mean, look at this roster. David Robertson, Patrick Ewing, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, Malone, Stockton. I mean, it goes on and on. How can you compare that team to this team?
Yeah. And listen, I understand, like, you could say that Bird and Magic were towards the end of their career. Not even that. Magic was still playing at a high level. You could say Bird was a little, achy at that time. Barkley was a little achy at that time. But you think that LeBron James is stopping practice because Steph Curry said that his team was better, or Steph Curry was saying that he was better than the LeBron James? No, LeBron James isn't saying, you know what, you take your 5, I'll take my 5, and let's, behind closed doors, let's beat the shit out of each other. You think LeBron just saying that to Steph Curry? Steph Curry's amazing to me, bro. And if anybody thinks that the reason why that Olympic team won that gold medal is because of LeBron James, you need to have your head checked. Steph Curry played out of his mind, as well he should. You see the meme? You see the meme of Kobe and
no, I haven't seen
Michael
that.
Jordan?
No.
No, I'm sorry. Magic and Michael going, what's a bronze medal look like?
Yeah,
But it's true.
Don't forget, they also had Christian Laettner too, a college guy on the team too,
Yeah.
right? That team.
Another one. It's the same meme, and it's Magic and Jordan talking like, you guys actually, you got 30 points. We won all our games by more than 30 points. You guys lost. You guys won by 3-4 points. It's like we're not used to winning by more than 30.
I mean, yeah, Anthony Edwards. I mean, great player, but is he? But he's not there. He's not
Magic Johnson.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Even like Devin Booker, right? They make him out to be a star in the NBA. Okay, he goes to the Boston or the TD Waterhouse, whatever. He scored 60 points that one year against the Celtics. Other than that, the guy, I mean, he's a good player, but he's not a Hall of Famer. I mean, look at all the Hall of Famers on this first dream team. That was a dream team.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I need reassurance, or I need an answer from you, because I'm getting a little bit of shit from some people about my take on LeBron James and his son. Now, I want to know what your true feelings are on this. And again, my son says, "Oh, you just hate LeBron James. That's why you're saying it." Okay, I'm not a big fan of LeBron James. That is completely clear. I don't like the guy. Okay, but I do think that what's happening with his son right now is not a good dad move. This is not a local beer league basketball team where you want to play basketball with your son. It's not even a college. Well, it wouldn't happen, but it's not like a local, high level team where you want to play with your son. This is the NBA. You're going to bring your son, not to mention the fact you were picked 54th. I guarantee there's about 100 players that should have taken that 54th or 52nd spot than this kid. Nothing against the kid, everything against the dad. You want to play in the NBA? You stay in college for a couple of years. I'm LeBron James. I have the money. And I understand you don't need the money. I understand some of these players, they make the jump because they need the money. They got to buy the house. They got to buy this. But you're the son of LeBron James. Dad, LeBron James needs to say, son, it's not time yet. Get your degree. Come out when you can, and you will be a top player. Because I'm not saying the kid's a bad basketball player. He's really good. Mentally, he's not ready, man. And I don't think as a dad, I wouldn't put my son in that position. And I understand that nepotism works in certain situations. Nepotism does work. And we can have that conversation about, because a lot of people call me on that too. In my job, nepotism works. But when you have millions and millions of people watching every move, and there's $100 million contracts on the line, nepotism needs to take a little bit of a back seat, because your son, if he can't handle it, he's just going to be completely done. I really feel that LeBron James' son is going to be playing in France in like 2 or 3 years. Or not to say that's a bad thing. He's going to make his money. But if you let him mature and you let him be him, I think that's a bad dad move.
Yep.
I agree or disagree?
I think it's selfish, Rich. If you look at the Ken Griffey Jr., a totally different situation where the Griffeys played together, totally different. This is LeBron, all about LeBron saying, okay, I want you to go play with me. He wants to play with his son, basically. That's what the bottom line is, Rich. Yeah. And they're making his son to be out the next thing. I mean, a second round draft pick. The NBA draft is only 2 rounds, Rich. You got 2 rounds. That's 62 players get drafted, maybe, whatever, yeah. 60 players. And then what about the rest? They're all free agents. So for this guy to get a second round draft pick where he hasn't really proven himself yet, what has the guy done?
You just brought up another very good point. You're going to leave that door open for somebody that finally gets into the league to literally beat the living shit out of your son on the court just because you thought it was his time to become the NBA. And this guy had a struggle because my dad's not LeBron James. The type of shit that he's going to take. And I don't know if he's taking it yet, but I'm telling you, he's going to get a lot of shit from the players in the NBA. Maybe under the covers. Maybe you might see an elbow here and there. But there's going to be shots taken at him. And I don't know if the father's going to be able to handle it.
Of course, he's taking a job away from somebody, Rich. Yes. A person that really deserves it. He's taking a job away. It would be like me and you at work where somebody comes in and takes our job just off the street, basically. No experience or anything, but they're doing our job, basically, They're taking our paycheck. I mean, how can you justify that, Rich? It's all about LeBron. It's LeBron's ego. It's LeBron getting his son on the team. will the son even last the whole season? Will he last? Better yet, will he get released? Right? And how much money is he making, the son? Did they sign a contract? I didn't see any monetary contract yet. Did he sign a contract?
I don't know. All I know is that if he's making $1, it's too much. You know what I mean?
And
like
plus,
it's like
he had the cardiac arrest last year too. God, is he healthy? I mean,
he had a cardiac arrest. What if he's nervous?
Right.
What if he's like a nervous kid? And the season hasn't even started yet, and he's already getting shit. You're gonna say that first tip when that season starts, if he's out there with the starting 5 on opening night in Los Angeles with the Lakers, it's not like this is the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Utah Jazz. Or I'm not saying they're not big names, but this is the Los Angeles Lakers. This is like the Knicks, the Celtics. These are big cities with big personas and big names. What's that going to do to a kid's confidence when he has 0 points, 0 rebounds? I just, that city's going to murder him.
The kid's going to get walked all over, Rich, Yes.
It's unfortunate because he was a nice kid.
Who's a tough guy in the NBA right now? Who's the toughest guy in the NBA? I'm just trying to think are there any tough guys anymore?
Wait. Exactly. I was just going to pause for a second. If we're having this conversation in 1995, you could probably rattle off like 20 names off the top of your head. Who's the toughest guy? Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen was tough. Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason. I'm just naming teams that I know. Karl Malone, John Stockton. These are tough guys. I don't. Who's tough? Kevin Garnett.
Bill Laimbeer, right?
Even Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas played the second half of a playoff game with a broken foot.
The only one I could think of, Steven Adams, but I don't even know if he's around anymore.
Eric, and again, I'm sure we could sit here and be like, this guy's kind of tough, but that question that you just asked is a no-brainer back then. Now it's like, he's kind of tough. Okay, he's talented, he's fast, he scores points, but is he tough?
Joel Embiid? No.
He's the biggest example of not being tough. He's the biggest pussy in the NBA.
Anthony Davis? Anthony Davis? No, not Anthony Davis.
Another one. You're going to tell me, I think if you put Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid in the middle of the ring together and they had a fight, I don't even think they would know how to throw a punch. They're big guys that are babies.
What about Jokic? Nikola Jokic?
Jokic is tough. Jokic is tough.
That's about it. Wembanyama? Yeah. I don't think Wembanyama.
And he's not even from America.
No, exactly.
I know. Jeez. These Americans they're not tough basketball players anymore. I'm sorry.
So keep comparing the 2024 Dream Team compared to the 1992 Dream Team. Keep comparing the two.
Michael Jordan won 2 gold medals, one as a college player and one part of the greatest assortment of basketball players ever. And then everybody, longevity. You got to get LeBron for longevity. Okay, fine. He's a specimen. He's an athlete. Yeah, fine. So he's playing 20 some odd years. Why is my argument not hold any weight when I say to somebody, how about we just compare LeBron's 15 best years to Michael Jordan's 15 years?
Yep.
Why is that a bad argument? When somebody will turn around and say, well, longevity, he's played 6-7 more years, but Michael Jordan didn't. Okay, so that's out of the questions. We can't have that question. We can't have that conversation. The conversation we can have is the full 15 years of Michael Jordan's career up against LeBron's best 15 years. He's better. He's tougher. He's smarter. Maybe he got his dad killed because he's a gambler, but he's a human. He never walked into a room and said, why is everybody picking on me? I'm not a jerk. He says he's a jerk.
Yeah.
That's the reason why he was good. That's the reason why he was great. He said he would cut his best friend's throat on the basketball court to win. We'll go play golf afterwards, but if I'm looking at you and you're my best friend, you're my hated enemy. That's what great players do, not yuck it up.
Well, a lot of stats are based on longevity, Rich. I mean, Nolan Ryan pitched 25 years. Is Nolan Ryan the best pitcher ever? His stats are great, right? But he's not the best pitcher. Look at how many guys he walked and stuff over the years.
He's not the greatest pitcher of all time.
No.
Dominating? Tough? Yeah. Tough. Him and Bob Gibson, I think, are 2 of the toughest pitchers to ever play. Best ever? No. Bob Gibson's in the conversation.
NFL and NBA, Rich, NFL and MLB. I mean, how many tough guys out there? You know, you don't see pitchers thrown anymore at batters or anything like that.
Even football players today.
Right.
Listen, no, there's still some tough guys out there in football. I wouldn't say that. But even the wide receivers are turning into pussies.
Well, a wide receiver to catch a pass, losing by 30 points, a wide receiver to catch a pass, get a touchdown and start pounding his chest, you know, and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. What happened to Barry Sanders? I'm all for I like the flashiness a little bit now. It's kind of funny. But, you know, Barry Sanders, greatest running back, in my eyes, the greatest football player that ever lived. But that's my opinion. But hand the football to the referee. He could have broken the single season record for yards, but he came out of the game because they were winning by so much. He handed the football to the coach, the Paterno, and said, "I'm done. Yeah. I don't need it. I'm done." And he just sat down. He's like, "Wait a second. You need 2 more yards. I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm done."
Yeah.
Okay. That's tough.
Crazy. Crazy. Amazing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So have you watched a lot of the Olympics, Rich? Have you watched a lot? Or
listen, I'm in and out on the Olympics. I love the Olympics, dude. Unlike you, I do. You know, it's funny because me and my wife, me and my wife watch the Olympics all the time. That's one thing that, like, you know, she'll ask people and we'll ask people, "Did you see the Olympics last night?" And people are like, "Olympics? I don't watch the Olympics." We watch the Olympics all the time. I love the Olympics, dude, because I truly believe. Although this year in the Olympics, it's starting to get a little tit for tatty, but not in the past. I love the Olympics because at the end of the day, it's the greatest athletes in the world against each other. And that guy, Noah Lyles, the track star, you know, said, you know, what he says, "I have to watch the NBA finals talk about world champions." Yes. The greatest basketball players in the world are here. The greatest baseball players in the world are here. Okay. So for you to say that, it's just stupid. But you as a track runner, you won the 100 meters by like 100th of a second. You're the best in the world at what you do. So is the NBA. So are the NBA players right now. They proved it. They beat Jokic. Okay. So to say something like that, and I hate to say it, but it's another thing to create division in this country where you have an American track star saying to the NBA guys that you guys may not be the best in the world. Oh, yeah, but yes, we are. Now you got the NBA guys making fun of this guy, Noah Lyles. He lost in the 200 meters. So, no, you're not the great. You're not Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt's the greatest runner of all time. Oh, I had COVID. That's why. Oh, yo, did you? Oh, really? So pull yourself out. Shut your mouth and let's stop with the division. Even with the Simone Biles and this other girl. I see Simone Biles and what's her name? I forgot her name. Is escaping me. Childs, the other gymnast. You see what they did the other day? They got the silver and the bronze. And the chick from Brazil won the gold medal. They bowed to her on the podium.
Wow.
They bowed. Now, tell me if I'm throwing this out of proportion. Yes, she won. That's great. You don't bow to her. They beat you, but you're representing the United States of America. You're showing weakness. Yes, you could give her accolades. It's great. It's great. In front of the entire world, the two of you bowed. It's crazy, dude. Crazy.
Can't watch it.
Oh, it's unwatchable. But I do love the Olympics, though. I really do.
Like I said, I watched a little basketball, and then at the Jets game yesterday, I was relegated to watch women's soccer on the scoreboard at the Jets game. So that was the only Olympics I watched, and I guess it ends today, right?
Yeah. Closing ceremonies are today.
Yeah, I'll be watching Yankees and Rangers. Sorry.
All right. Well, listen.
Hey, are they going to come in out on the boats that they came in when they did the opening ceremonies? They came in on the boats, right?
Of course, everybody's got an issue with the opening ceremonies, talking about how the world
people trash everything now, Rich. You know, the athletes were twerking, and it's like, who cares? You know, it's like they're celebrating.
Crazy, dude. Now. They twerk. This world is absolutely insane right now. It really is, and it's being played out in front of us on national television. Nobody's doing anything.
And it's come down to sports now, so.
Yeah. And you know me, and I know you. I don't give a shit if you kneel for the flag. I don't give a shit if you say, please just keep this shit out of it because I go here to escape that bullshit. I'm going to watch football. I don't give a shit. Even back then, with I even forgot his name, that he knelt for the American flag. I'm going to forget about that. Yeah. I'm going to forget about that. That Brittany Grenier says whatever she says, you got to keep it out because it's what we do. We watch these games to get away from that shit, man. And just because you're LeBron James and you have a platform to say that the cops suck and you need to defund the police, fuck you, LeBron James. Play basketball. When I say shut up and dribble, you can have your opinion, but you also got to realize that when you say defund the police and the cops are all pigs, young America is going to listen to you, you asshole. You know what I mean?
I like these guys, Rich. They had like the Yankees, Mets tattoos, and after the COVID season, they got the tattoos taken off and stuff like that. So it just, you know what? It's entertainment. It's 3 hours of coming home from a long day at work. It's 3 hours to ease the brain. Just put a game on and stuff, and we've been doing it for so long, Rich. It's hard to teach old dog new tricks. So you know what? After this is over, I'm gonna be watching sports today. So.
Yeah, I hear you. Speaking about that, is there anything else you want to get to? It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I'm going to go jump in the pool.
It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I'm going to get kicked out of MetLife soon. The guy's telling me I have to vacate the premises. But yeah, no, all is good. I'm glad we're back and stuff. And next week,
listen, we got to do this more because I literally just murdered the Hudson Valley Renegades on this show today. So we need to get more content out there to show these guys that we are the shit in Fishkill. All right? I'm not saying we're the shit in New York. I'm not saying we're shit. Yes. My wife just broke in and scared me. We're almost done.
we just take baby steps, Rich. Fishkill, then New York City, right? Then the world, right?
Exactly. All right. Well,
okay, my friend. Well, we'll see you on Friday night at Media Night. And then, of course, with the games on Saturday. And we're going to promote it this week. I know Jay wants us to promote it and stuff. And yeah, great show today, my friend.
Awesome. All right, dude. Well, I'll talk to you a little bit later. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm going to put these videos out today.
Let me get a MetLife before I get arrested here, okay?
Absolutely. All righty. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Okay, take care, bud. We'll speak soon. Take care.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks for checking us out.